Hello, Bear 5. We have a big test, monthly evaluation right on Tuesday. So let's turn to page 23. Let's spend around 20 minutes reviewing everything in chapter 2. Okay, so page 23. Decide to, learn to, want to, offer to, right? So let's try to highlight. For example, about 2 years ago, sorry, 3 years ago, um, Charlie heard about keeping bees in the city, so he decided to try keeping bees in the city, right? And he started, and his aunt offered to help him. Okay, and then later on, at first, he was a little bit nervous, but he decided to stop feeling nervous and stop feeling scared, and he learned to be gentle and calm around the bees. And the first time he collected the honey, he was so excited. He wanted to taste the honey before it went into the jars. And then about 2 years later, 2 years later, yes, his aunt suggested making candles with the wax from the bees. And then he started going to a class right after school. In that class, he practiced melting the wax. He practiced making different shapes of models and models of candles. And then he found that he really enjoys keeping bees in the city, right? So please try to notice that in this chart, please try to remember. Everyone say decide to, learn to, suggest doing, practice doing, stop doing, want to, offer to, start works in both ways. Start to doing, and enjoy doing and learn to. Okay, great. So about the reader, let's check out the reader story. So Icarus, right? Icarus. So Icarus, um, uh, is the story between Icarus and Daedalus, his father, right? So a feather floated in. Daedalus and Icarus were in a prison. So Daedalus wished they could go home, right? Daedalus wished they could go home. So for wish sentences, after wish, we use verb ed, verb past. Okay, we change the verbs to verb ed, verb past. All the be verbs change it to were. All the be verbs change it to were. So a feather floated in through the window. So Daedalus looked at the feather, and then he had an idea. He started emptying the feathers from the pillow, and he collected sticks and string using the wax from the candle, and he began sticking the feathers to make a wing, right? So he told his son to be patient and practice doing something, right? So at first, Icarus was a little bit scared, but later on, he tried to practice and practice, and he wished he were a bird, right? And then he stopped feeling scared, and he practiced more and more. He started to fly, and then um in this part, and they just climbed up a tower, and Daedalus just told his son not to fly too high because the uh, wings will melt, the wax will melt because of the sun. And he told his son not to fly too low because the feathers will get wet it would get too heavy, and he told him not to fly too far to the left or not too far to the right because he might get lost. But Icarus just forgot about his father's words. He started flying really fast. He just flew too high, and his wings started to melt because of the sun. And then he just got too low to the sea, and his feathers started to get wet, and he fell into the sea. He died. Sad story. I'm sorry about that. Good. So, page 27. Page 27. Okay. See, I'm doing things really fast, right? So, what does Yasmin wish? Yasmin wishes she could fly, right? And Yasmin wishes she had wings. And Angelo just read about the story. Scarlett also wishes the story had a happy ending. Also, Scarlett says she used to enjoy reading fairy tales, and um, she just offered Angelo three wishes. She plays the fairy godmother, right? So Angelo wishes. What does Angelo wish? So Angelo wishes he didn't have to go to school. He wishes he were a famous singer. And how about Hamish? Hamish wishes he could sleep, right? So for wish sentences, remember we change it to opposite meaning. Right? For example, Yasmin can't fly, so Yasmin wishes she could fly. And Yasmin doesn't have wings, so Yasmin wishes she had wings, right? She doesn't have it, she wishes she had it. And the story doesn't have a happy ending. So Scarlett just wishes the story had a happy ending. And Angelo has to go to school. He has to do something. So Angelo wishes he didn't have to go to school. And Angelo isn't famous. Angelo isn't famous. So he wishes he were a famous singer. All the be verbs change to were. He wishes he were. She wishes she were. I wish I were taller. I wish I were stronger. Elton wishes he were more handsome. Okay, so let's move on to page 28. So, page 28 is about personality. Personality. Okay, so I'm going to say logical. Logical. When a person likes to think before doing things, before making a decision, before he or she decides to what to do, think before doing something. Everyone say logical, logical. Now, practical. A practical person get things done, and he or she is useful in real life. Okay, practical. And everyone say artistic. Artistic. An artistic person likes beautiful things, like art, like painting, like drawing. Artistic, right? Sporty is quite easy to understand. A sporty person likes to exercise. He or she enjoys playing outdoors or exercise or watching games. So, how about a sociable person? A sociable person loves to talk, loves to make friends. He or she has a lot of friends. Okay, easy to make friends with. Okay, everyone says sociable. 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 It's not easy to spell. So sociable. Try to spell it. And how about a patient person? He or she is not in a hurry. He or she can wait for a long time. Wait for his friends. Say patient. How about creative? A creative person has great ideas. But the point is, he or she can make things done with hands. Okay, you have the idea, but you also try to make things done. Okay, make real things to create real things. But how about imaginative? An imaginative person likes to dream, pictures in the head, okay, fantasy land, okay, and also maybe unicorn, fantasy. So this person lives in a fantasy land, right? Okay, so how about at this point, can we try to turn to activity book? I believe you got your activity book in right in your hand. So right page 19, page 19. So uh these twins are Lucy and Jack. Lucy is the sister, Jack is the brother. So they're twins. So but they're different. um who is practical? Jack is practical. Jack always knows what to do, so he always get things done, right? And Jack is great with computers because Jack is, everyone say, logical, right? Logical. And Jack can figure out problems easily. Jack is patient. He can wait for people. He has time to wait for people. He doesn't get angry while waiting. So, with young students, which means that he can teach, right? And both Jack and Lucy are sociable. The two of them are both sociable. Lucy is sociable. Jack is also sociable. Sociable. So both of them. Lucy loves being with other people. Jack also is okay to be with other people. They both have a lot of friends. And Lucy enjoys painting. Lucy is artistic. But is Jack artistic? But Jack, I don't think he's artistic. He isn't even creative. He's not creative. He never makes models. He never draws anything. But Jack thinks. Lucy is very imaginative. Imaginative because she always thinks up stories. She always has new ideas about stories. Okay, so she lives in a fantasy land. So Jack and Lucy. Okay, and later on, can we move on back to student book? Student book. Let's finish yarn bombing and reviewing, and we finish the class. Okay, good. So yarn bombing. So we know about graffiti art, right? So what is graffiti art? Or we introduce about graffiti art, but where can we see graffiti paintings? We can see graffiti paintings right on the outside of buildings in most cities, right? And have you ever heard about yarn bombing? What is yarn bombing? Yarn bombing is a different type of street art. And who started yarn bombing craze? Magda Sayek from Houston. Houston is a city. Magda Sayek from Houston started the yarn bombing craze. Okay, she started this passion. Okay, Magda, how did she start such craze? How did this idea start? At first, Magda decided to knit. She decided to knit colorful covers for the door handles in her clothing store. And then people who saw the door handle covers, they loved the idea. They loved them. So later on, Magda just decided to cover a tree outside her store, and it just made more and more people more interested. People stopped driving to look at the Yambaming, and they stopped driving to take pictures of such Yambaming, right? It made people smile, and people started talking about it. And later on, how does the Yambaming craze go big? How did it go big? Some creative people just joined Magda. They each knitted a square, and after each person knitted a square, everyone just sewed the squares together to cover an enormous bus. And later on, more and more things can be yum bombed. I think we showed you the picture. From lamppost, from bikes, from big things to like trees, cars, buildings, even people, right? So if we have time, we can try to check out more examples of yarn bombing, right? Yarn bombing, right? In those pictures, you can see um, lamp, telephone booth, okay, trees, or Wall Street, or benches on the street, right? Even buses, even train. So many examples of yum bombing, right? And people just try to yum bomb everything, even tank, all kinds of decoration, bikes, okay, and um, trains. Yes, we can see so many examples of yum bombing buildings. Okay, things, even a bridge, even big bridges can be yum bombed. Things just started to get more and more interesting. So why do people love yum bombing so much? People also describe yum bombing as graffiti knitting. Why? Sorry, I should use yellow. Okay, graffiti knitting is now global. People all over the world start loving it. Okay, people take pictures of them, their work, and post them on the internet. Why is yum bombing different from graffiti? Yum bombing is different from graffiti because paint isn't used. So it is easy to remove. It is easy to say goodbye to yum bombing. For graffiti art, it's painted. It's not easy to remove them. It's not easy to say goodbye to them if you don't like them, right? But for yum bombing, if you don't like it, just remove it easily and say goodbye to them, right? So it's creative, it's sociable, because you need to have great ideas, and you need to get things done, and you need to communicate with people. You need to work with people. It's sociable. Okay, it's quite interesting. So at last, well, let's try to turn to page 39. Sorry, 31, 31, and let's finish the lesson. Okay, so page 31. Enjoy doing, right? How about decide, decide to, right? So decide to buy, right? Practice doing, practice folding, right? Learn to, right? So learn to make, and start. You can say start making, or you can say start to make. How about offer? Offer, offer to, right? So offer to make. Okay. So I wish I could. I wish I had. I wish I were. I wish I weren't. So try to review your activity book and worksheet. Okay. So that's the class today. That's the review for chapter 2. See you on Tuesday.